Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's officially September. The air is crisp in the morning. It's actually been a lot cooler in the mornings here already. It definitely is starting to feel like fall. Don't get me wrong, you guys know I'm a summer girl, but I'm also a fall girl. I just love romanticizing the seasons. So along with that, I also like to read with the seasons. So the books I'm reading, I like them to kind of fit the season that I'm in to help romanticize it. So that being said, I have a few books here that I want to recommend to you for fall / books that I want to read this fall. Of course, I'm not gonna read all of these. If I was dedicating all of my time to reading, maybe I could get through all of these books in 2 months. In an ideal world, I would love to read all of these in September and October. There's also a few on my Kindle. So the stack that I just showed you here, these are, wait, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 12, 13, because there's 2 on my Kindle. 13, wow, 13's a spooky number. I feel like that's kind of perfect. The 13 books I want to read for spooky season. These are just books that I think encompass some sort of fall energy. We're gonna start with a book that I don't have on my Kindle and I don't even have a copy of because I just saw it in Heather's video. I absolutely love Heather's channel. I love her TikTok, I love her YouTube. She's one of my favorites, so definitely go check her out. But she was talking about a book called Hollow Heathens, and she said it gave very Mystic Falls Vampire Diaries energy, and I immediately added it to my Goodreads as something I want to read. So I think I'm going to read that in a specific video that I have planned in my head. So that's the first book, Hollow Heathens. The book that I'm reading currently on my Kindle, because at night I find reading on my Kindle is just, it's the go-to. I'm 16% through it. The book I am reading right now is Zodiac Academy Cursed Fates. I don't have a physical copy of this one. I have the other 4 over there on my 3rd shelf up. I absolutely eat up Zodiac Academy. Now I think there's like 9, 10, 11, I don't know. There's a lot of books in this series and I'm not sure if I'm gonna end up reading all of them. I'm on book 5 and I'm still absolutely eating it up. Think kind of Harry Potter energy because it is kids who are at a school setting and they all have magic. But the magic is tied to the zodiac signs and tied to the elements. So our 2 main girls, they're twins, they're Tori and Darcy, and they're Geminis. They have certain powers. All the other characters have certain powers. It's a little bit of a bully romance, I would say. I wouldn't say it's YA because some of the scenes are a little bit more graphic, but nothing crazy. Like, I definitely don't think this is dark romance at all. It's kind of in between YA and adult, but it really ate it up. When I read the first book in this series, it was during my 24-hour readathon. The first time I read for 24 hours straight, and that really got me hooked. And I really recommend Zodiac Academy. It fits so well in the like spooky, dark academia kind of energy for this time of year. Okay, now we'll move on to my physical books that I have here. Firstly, I've had this book sitting on my shelf for over a year now, ever since I watched Shadow and Bone on Netflix. So this is 6 of Crows. This is my book club book. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen me post about my Discord before. And on Discord, I have a little book club. It's so fun. It actually brings me so much joy. But every month we read a book together. We just read Magnolia Parks, which I'm waiting for my copy of Daisy Hates to come in. I need to read that book because Magnolia Parks, did I rate it 5 stars? I might have given it 5 stars. I ate that up. Anyways, so off topic, but our September book club winner was 6 of Crows. If you are a fantasy book reader girl, you absolutely need to watch Shadow and Bone. And my favorite part of Shadow and Bone was the crows from this book. So it's an interconnected series, I believe. Shadow and Bone is its own series and 6 of Crows is its own series, but they take place in the same universe, the Grishaverse as people call it now. Every time the Shadow and Bone characters were on the screen, even though it was their show, I was like, get off the screen. I want to see the crows. Kaz? Hard eyes. Cannot wait to read about Kaz. 6 people in a crew and they all have these unique abilities. For example, one of them is a convict and he's really good at fighting. One is a sharpshooter, he's really good at using guns. And they're doing a heist. That's the whole concept of the book. It's a heist book, and I was peeking around on Discord and I noticed a few people have started the book already and they're saying that like you're hooked right away. There's so much going on right from the beginning. This book I have had on my shelf again for a very long time, since last year. And excuse me, my laptop reminding me that I should work out. And I'm not going to. Two Twisted Crowns. This is the second book in a duology, and I read One Dark Window last year. I listened to it a bit on audio, and which I actually really liked. I really liked the audio for that, and I did really like it. I didn't love it, but I find I think about it a lot. The concept is so unique. The magic system is so unique. They have, what are the cards called? I forget, Providence cards. There's Providence cards, and these cards control the magic. It's really cool. And the main character, Elsbeth, she has a nightmare living in her. So basically a spirit slash creature living inside her mind. And that's the whole concept of the first book. I need a refresher fully on how One Dark Window ended, because I don't fully remember what happened at the end, but I seem to recall it being really intense. But I really need to just wrap up this duology, and I need to finish Two Twisted Crowns. It definitely has this spooky kind of dark academia fall energy. Like even just looking at this cover, how fall is that like cover? That's so spooky. Fall is definitely the time for fantasy reading. So if you ever wanted to get into fantasy, which is my tried and true favorite genre forever, this is the time. I have had this book for so long now. It's called Hellfire. The second one's called Honey. I bought these almost strictly because of the covers. They're so beautiful. It's a fantasy novel. I honestly don't even fully know what it's about. Main girl gives up her immortality and her powers, so she becomes a near mortal. There is some trigger warnings at the beginning of this. I think I saw someone talk about this on TikTok as like a fantasy that not a lot of people have read, but is so good. An adult fantasy romance that contains graphic violence, general dark themes, and a few other things. So if you're looking for something a little more adult fantasy, that's gonna be the one you wanna go with. This, I had to include in this video, Dracula. I've never read Dracula, and I honestly don't think I'm gonna get to this again this year. There's just so many other books I'd rather read before I read like a classic book. I'm so sorry. There's just not enough time in the day. If all I did with my time was read, I would maybe get to it. But this is just the classic story of Dracula. He's a vampire, in case you didn't know, but I'm sure you know that Dracula's a vampire, right? We have another vampire book. I'm a really big fan of vampires. I read Serpent and the Wings of Night last year, and if you want a vampire adult romance, absolutely need to read that. If you liked Throne of Glass, anything by Sarah J. Maas, I definitely recommend Serpent and the Wings of Night. But this is called King of Battle and Blood. It is a like romantasy, so there's definitely a romance plot in here between our main character Isolde and Adrian, the vampire. So Isolde is supposed to marry this vampire and kill him. I'm assuming it's gonna be an enemies to lovers. I have two books here by Jennifer Armentrout. The first one is this big chunky boy, which is the fourth book in a series, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but that is Born of Blood and Ash, which is the fourth book in the Flesh and Fire series. I've talked about this so many times, I feel like it's gonna be annoying if I talk about it more, but this series, Flesh and Fire by Jennifer Armentrout, got me into reading again as an adult. It fully re-sparked my love for reading and fantasy. Highly recommend Flesh and Fire. Niktos is everything to me. He's like my #1 book boyfriend. Now this is not to be confused with the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout. It's so confusing. So she has Blood and Ash series, Flesh and Fire series. This book's not in the Blood and Ash series, it's in the Flesh and Fire series. Yet it's called Born of Blood and Ash. Don't ask me why she did that, because that very much confused me. The first time I saw this at the bookstore, I didn't buy it because I thought it was in the Blood and Ash series. The other book by Jennifer Armentrout that I picked up, oh my god. The cover really sold me on this one. This was in my last book haul, so if you watched my other fall video, that's where I got this guy. This is called White Hot Kiss. It's the first book in the Dark Elements series. I have not heard anything about this series. I've never seen anybody talk about it, but it's about a demon gargoyle. Our main character is a demon gargoyle, and the male in it hunts demons, from what I understand. He's a gargoyle and he hunts demons. So like enemies to lovers, perhaps? This is the X-Hex. I honestly got this because it's nice and short and I really need to catch up on my reading goal because I think I'm 8 books behind for the year, which actually really stresses me out. Our main character in this one is a witch and she accidentally hexes her ex. I'm assuming they somehow get back together. I don't know. I think they work together to try to break the hex that she put on him. I think this is probably just gonna be like a fun, quirky little like rom-com-y vibe, but it's definitely very spooky with our main girl being a witch. Oh look, another vampire book. Look at this cover. This sold me so hard. I don't know if this is a special edition or what, but this is Masters of Death. This is the spookiest looking book I own. The purple and the green, like with the purple sprayed edges, the skeleton on the front. Easily the spookiest, most aesthetic book I own. So this isn't very fall. This is just straight Halloween energy to me. So the main girl is a struggling real estate agent and a vampire. But her biggest problem currently is that the house she needs to sell is haunted. So there's a ghost in it, a vampire, there's a medium. So spooky. This is perfect. I think I would read this one in October. We're almost done, guys. Next up is Vicious. This cover just screamed fall spooky season to me with all the little skulls and crossbones, red and black. This is part of a duology. The second one is Vengeful. I've heard so many people talk about V.E. Schwab. I'm hoping that this is a good place to start, but our 2 main characters, they're 2 young boys, college roommates, and they are very interested in the supernatural. It seems like they do an experiment and things go horribly wrong. This seems kind of dark academia to me, correct me if I'm wrong. Finally, we have one more book and that is Butcher and Blackbird. I've been wanting to read this since I saw Madison talk about it. I'll put her channel. She is another one of my absolute favorites when it comes to booktube, book TikTok. She's the best. Butcher and Blackbird is about 2 serial killers and apparently it's kind of like a comedy, like it's kind of funny. But it's about 2 serial killers, but we're on their side because they're killing the bad guys. They're killing bad people. So we kind of don't hate them and we kind of want them, we don't want them to kill, but like you know what I'm saying. So 2 serial killers in love who like go on killing sprees together. How romantic. If you're the type of girly who's more of the fall, pumpkins, cozy, coffee, cutie versus the spooky fall girl who's like skeletons, demons, you might not like my book choices here because I fear I'm more of the vampire, demon, spooky ghost skeleton girl versus the cutesy fall girl. So I don't have anything cozy here. I don't like cozy fantasy. I don't like cozy love romance books. The only one on here that kind of fits that would probably be the X-Hex. Everything else I think is more fantasy-ish related. Let me know if you've read any of these and which ones you absolutely think I should read first. If you think there's any I should skip in here and save till next year, because I definitely can't read all these. I don't know how many times I've said that in this video, but I just want to remind you that I absolutely can't read all these. I read like 1 book a month. Who am I kidding? Maybe 2, maybe 3 on a good month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one.